Okay, today's video, it's just like it says. We're going to compare for moto two-wheel racing off-road action cameras. So I've been a GoPro guy for many years. I way back when. I still got my GoPro 3 Plus Black, which was top of the line at the time, and that's probably 10 years ago or longer. But I've got a ton of GoPro cameras. But we're going to talk mainly about my workhorse, the GoPro 13. Um, they made a lot of changes with the 13, changed the batteries, the type. You can't interchange batteries anymore, but the new batteries, they seem to last a little bit longer. Um, I haven't had any overheating problems with the camera shutting off. It's been pretty much a good workhorse. And that's this camera right here. And I'm going to change views here. So this camera right here, the GoPro 13, this has been a great camera for me. Um, all of my road racing videos, you'll see it, and it's been doing great. I also have a GoPro 11 Mini. Doesn't have a screen on it, has different mounting options. This usually gets put on the back of my race bike so I can get people behind me, or I could turn it around and see what I'm doing on the bike. And I'll show you how I've got these mounted on the race bike here in a second. I still actually have my GoPro 9 and 10, and I've also got the GoPro 360 Max. So as you can see, I've got a bunch of GoPros. I've got the Media Mod that adds this big microphone, or you can add an external microphone. Um, I've got lens mods. I've got all kinds of stuff basically for GoPros. However, I had an Insta360 quite a long time ago. It was the 1R when it first came out. It was modular, had a 4K module and a 360 module. And I played around with the 360 stuff a little bit. Um, but I always went back to the GoPros for ease of use and all the features that are built into them. For instance, GoPro 13 has the built-in ear mount in the bottom. It's replaceable if you break it. A couple of screws, but it's got the mount built in. You can fold it up, put it in a case. It also has GPS built into it. So to do your telemetry data, it's built right into the camera. It'll do 5.3K at 60. It'll do 4K at up to 120. It's got a hyper view for the super wide angle. Um, so pretty great camera. Current price on Amazon, $429. So GoPro 13, my workhorse. Insta360 has got the Ace series cameras. Purchased one, the Ace Pro 2. This is an 8K camera. It'll do up to 8K. It'll do the 4K at 120 as well. It's got what they call an action field of view, a wide angle field of view. Some of the things about it, it's got a magnetic clip-on mount for the two ears. Very secure. Used it during my testing and it was fine. However, you do have to purchase additional equipment if you want GPS. I opted for the preview remote. Now, this also has a GPS in it, and it remote controls the camera. You can turn the camera on with it. You can record with it. And if you use this to record onto your camera, it's going to capture that GPS data. So going price on this camera is $439 on Amazon. The preview remote is $149, and they also have an action remote that works with it. That's $79. So that's an additional cost. So I've got a couple of weeks until we get back out on the racetrack. So I went out on the dirt bike this morning, and I did a 1 mile loop with each camera. And same loop, and I'm using the GoPro Quick software to add the GPS info, and I'm using the Insta360 Studio to add what they call stickers, which you could put your GPS data on there. That's how I'm going to edit these two videos and put them together. So, a couple of things about having cameras on your bikes. As I mentioned, the rear view facing forward allows you to see your body position, mainly for my road racing. You can turn it around. You can see who's behind you, how bad they were dogging you the whole race. It's pretty cool. You can see the fast guys when they come by. That's pretty cool. The one on the front of the bike, because you can't have a helmet mounted camera, it creates a purchase point on your helmet. I've got it mounted with a Woodcraft mount on the right front of my fairing. Gives me a good view. And of course, you overlay the GPS stuff. Now, I use third-party software for my racing stuff. Totally separate. You don't need it. You can use Quick for the GoPros or the Insta360 Studio for the Insta360 Ace cameras. Very limited information. The nice thing about the third-party software, which is telemetry overlay, I can actually take the telemetry data from my Solo 2DL, which captures data from the bike, and I can add that data to the GPS data I already have and overlay that on my videos. Works great. And it will work with either the Insta360, the GoPro, and there's several other cameras that it'll work with, and there's many other data acquisition units that it will work with. So let's get into ride one. I started off with the Insta360 Ace Pro 2. It's a little bit beefier camera than the 13. I don't know if you can notice the difference, but it's a little bit beefier, a little bit heavier, a little bit thicker. Again, it doesn't have the permanent mount, so I'm going to have to possibly get a utility cage for it so I could tether it to the bike. Let me show you the setup on the bike real quick. Let's go here. All right, so here's my front camera mounted to the Woodcraft mount, and you can see the safety wire tether that goes from the camera down to one of the bolts on the mount. We go to the back, and I don't have the tether set up on it, but here's the rear camera facing rearward, and that gives me some great footage. This also has GPS as well. So if for some reason the front camera takes a shit, you can still capture your GPS data. I also have something new that I've been playing with, and you can see it right there in my helmet. There's a little silver shiny piece inside the visor. And what that is, let me show you that. This is an Insta360 Go 3S. It's a little action camera, but the nice thing about this little action camera, push a button, and this is it. This is the camera. Now, it doesn't have removable media. This is only a 64 gigabyte, which I should never use that much data. 30 minutes charge life maximum, but it should cover a race no problem, and it's really cool. One of the other things I want to mention about the other two cameras, so the Insta360 Ace Pro 2, you've got a flip up screen. So if you're using it as a selfie camera, you can see and frame yourself. Whereas the GoPro 13, actually the front screen, and I'll turn it on so you can see it. I don't have a card in it right at the moment, or I do, but that's your preview screen right there on the front. So capabilities, you know, the Ace Pro 2 is 8K, whereas the GoPro 13 is 5.3K. The Ace Pro 2 has a 50 megapixel still camera, which is pretty amazing. I think it's 24.9 or something on the GoPro. Don't quote me on that. But the capabilities are pretty good on both cameras. Been pretty impressed with what happened today. And with that, we're going to go ahead and roll into video one. Video one is the Insta360 Ace Pro 2. And the second video is the GoPro 13. And I'll try and get some video side by side. They're not going to sync up because I was at different speeds. I actually made a rear suspension adjustment after the first ride because I was getting bounced around pretty good. I had to slow down my rebound. There's a lot of rocks, a lot of roots. No high-speed stuff for the old man. I'm just out there getting a really good workout. All right, let's move on to the clips. Okay, we're recording. I do like having that little preview screen because I can make sure the camera's set up. We got a GPS lock. It should be recording the GPS stuff onto the video file. And we're going to do this loop. Settings are 4K at 60. We're also testing the audio capabilities to see if the audio works well with nothing more than the microphone on the camera, not having to add on anything extra. So we're going to do this quick little loop, come back, and we'll swap out cameras. And we're off and running. That big rock. This would not have been good. Getting kind of bounced around today. Lots of big rocks in the trail. I don't know how they get here. Right, got a good flow going.
kind of a faster flowing section of the trail. Want to see how the audio does. Hopefully it does okay. Alright, that's the loop. So we will see how the audio does. We'll see how the audio does, and I'll pick up my pack, we'll swap out the cameras, and we'll go from there. Okay, this is going to be the GoPro 13 footage. We'll see how the audio works. There's a little bit of difference on the wide angle. 4K 60, I can only do wide angle. I can't do the hyper view. So that's going to be one difference between the two cameras' footage. Again, this has got built-in GPS. I'm going to wait a couple seconds for that to get cranking out good. And we'll get on the road here. Usually the GPS on the GoPro really locks in pretty quick. So we'll see how it does. And loop number 2 with the GoPro 13. And I made a little suspension adjustment. Flow. That little bit of a suspension adjustment I made for the rear feels way better. Coming up to the end and we're done. Should tell me my phone's connected here in a second. Phone connected. There you go. That's because I left my backpack here at the trail. All right, so yeah, that's going to be it for the coverage. The Insta360 Ace Pro 2 and the GoPro 13 Black.
So in closing, is there a clear winner between the two? Either or for me. 8K is nice. It only does, I wrote it down here, it only does 24 frames at 8K. I don't have an 8K monitor. I'm not going to be able to see the hairs on the gnat's butt that you could probably get with 8K. The 4K 120, you can actually use the widest field of view available on this camera, whereas the GoPro, you're limited to just a wide angle. Price difference, not much on the camera, but the addition of the GPS, that kind of bumps it up a little bit. 388 Racing, this is an unsponsored review. I have purchased all of this stuff myself. I'm kind of a gadget junkie, and I love the camera stuff. I love how much it helps you when you're out on the bike. I use it when I go out on my Harley touring just to capture the scenes. I use it on the dirt bike when I'm out doing my training. Today was about 15 miles total by the time I finished. Kind of sore right now, but you know, it's a good cardio workout on a dirt bike, and it also gets you loosened up. So as far as a clear winner, I don't have one. The Go 3S, now that I've learned how to use it and use the software, that's a cool little deal. I had a friend of mine that 3D printed some mounts to go in the helmet. However, Insta360 came out with a helmet mount. It's got a tab on it that just slides into the helmet, and this allows you to make adjustments to the camera, angles. You could tip it back this way, that way. You could turn it over if you want the lens on the bottom, and it's magnetic. So this is pretty cool. I'm going to give this a try the next race weekend, which will be the first weekend of August. So not this coming weekend, but the next one. Anyway, hopefully you take something away from this. Again, unsupported review. I really don't have a clear winner. The more I use it, the more I'll be able to go one way or another which one I like more. I got to find some place to mount this GPS on the race bike, and I'm I'm going to use my Mini 11 on the back, and I'm probably going to use the Ace Pro 2 for this next race weekend and try and get a bunch of footage and see how I like it. So with that, hey, if you're out there riding on twos, make sure you keep that shiny side up, rubber side down. As always, have yourself a great day.